Hey, what's up, YouTubers? It's me again, Brian, aka Gamer55551, and I am back with a My 2 Cent Switch and Gaming video for this week. Before I begin with that, I just want to say that there won't be any video game review, at least for this week, though. A couple of stuff have come up, so I won't be able to do a video game review for this week, but I will show off some gameplay footage of several games that came out for the Switch recently. The first one will be Retro City Rampage DX that just came out, and last week, surprisingly, the new Fate XL game just came out for the Nintendo Switch that was also released on the PS4 earlier this year. So I'll show up some gameplay footage of that, but overall, no video game review, at least for this week, though. Hopefully next week, but until then, just not for this week, though. Anyway, for this week's video, we'll be taking a look at 3 stories that came out this week that caught my attention in the gaming world today, and particularly for the Nintendo Switch, that I will give my opinion and my take on it. So the first one, if I could get my notes up, all right. The first one is to point out is that apparently Resident Evil is coming to the Nintendo Switch. Sort of. While it may not be the announcement that some of us would have liked to see, such as Resident Evil 7, or I would have loved to see Resident Evil 7, apparently it seems as though Capcom will be releasing Resident Evil Revelation 1 and 2 for the Nintendo Switch. It's also being released on the PS4 and the Xbox One. Supposedly, the game will come out August 29th for PS4 and Xbox One. The Switch version doesn't have a launch date yet, but but Capcom is claiming it will come out in fall 2017. From what we understand, the game will cost it's being dubbed the Resident Evil Revelation Collection. It's being set at $39.99, $40 for 1 cartridge and 1 downloadable code for, I believe it might be for the second game. The double pack will contain all the previous releases add-ons, or you could buy them separately, which is going to be $19.99, $20. In other words, you could buy them separately through the Nintendo eShop, though. So this is an interesting announcement that Capcom is planning to bring these games over, and I do welcome it. Do welcome them bringing these games to the Nintendo Switch, even though it may not be Resident Evil 7, the game I would have loved to see come to the Nintendo Switch. I will say though that Revelation, the first one was actually a fun game, though. I mean, it wasn't perfect, but it was not bad either. I think it was the idea of blending the old and the new in a way in a third-person perspective, though. It took certain elements from 4 I did like some of the item management, though, was certainly nice that they did that. We basically now, let's see, I think that was it in terms of, from ammo to, collecting herbs, so you don't have, it doesn't, take up a certain spot where you have to, and all that, but overall, it was certainly a fun game. Plus, it had the horror and the mood to it, though, something that 5 and 6 really did not have. So it's nice that they're bringing the game over, though. That said, though, while it is nice that Capcom is basically looking at bringing more games to the Switch, though, there may be more to it than that. So while it's nice that Resident Evil Revelation 1 and 2 are coming over, and Ultra Street Fighter 2, The Final Challenger did well, apparently they're still evaluating the Switch support, though. From a post on Nintendo Life, again, links are in the description, it basically, when they were talking about their first quarter financial results, though, a question was asked, following the sales of Ultra Street Fighter 2, what will Capcom approach the Nintendo Switch be going forward? And according to the statement, it says, the Nintendo Switch seems to be doing very well, and we look forward to further growth in its install base, beginning with Monster Hunter X Double Cross, Nintendo Switch version for Japan. We are evaluating how we will support this platform in the future. Now, that statement kind of sort of upsetted some people because they thought that they made an earlier statement saying that Ultra Street Fighter 2, although the game got mixed reviews depending on how you look at it, basically they thought since that did well, that means Capcom will support it more. This one basically means that they're going to look and see how well Monster Hunter Double Cross does in Japan, and then they'll reevaluate it, though. To me, it kind of gives sort of like that impression of what Ubisoft pulled with Beyond Good and Evil 2, saying, oh, let's see how Rayman Origins does before we talk about Beyond Good and Evil 2. Of course, eventually they did announce it, though, at this year's E3, and we do know it is coming, so... But... kind of a mix, overall, kind of a mixed response from Capcom regarding their support for the Switch. It's nice that we're getting a Resident Evil game to Switch, particularly Resident Evil Revelation 1 and 2, which were good games, don't get me wrong. But at the same time, it is somewhat a little disappointed that Capcom still needs, or at least the way I took the statement, that they still need to see more proof that before they just start supporting the Nintendo Switch, which on one hand I can kind of understand, but on the other hand, I just feel like it comes off as like they're dangling like a carrot on a string, saying, "Here, you want more support? Nope, we gotta do like that kind of approach." So I'm kind of mixed though on it though, but hopefully Revelation 1 and 2 does at least well on the Switch, assuming if you're going to pick that up on August 29th, or if you're going to wait. Or if you're going to, if you're going to wait for the Switch version, or if you're going to pick up the PS4 or Xbox One version. Either way, it's nice that they're supporting it, though. I'm just a little bit disappointed with their statement saying that they want to see how Monster Hunter X does, though. Although, the Monster Hunter series has done pretty well in Japan, so hopefully this one will do well and will convince Capcom to sort of like, I'm hoping it does do well, that they go full steam ahead with the Nintendo... Where's my notes? There it is. Okay, they hope they go full steam ahead with the work supporting the Nintendo Switch. So, here's the hoping on that. Okay, sorry if I'm moving. I'm trying to get my notes here. Okay. Alright, folks, we're going to take a bit of a break, and when we come back, I'm going to give my thoughts on a development team that has made some recent comments about, basically, they are thinking about supporting... or should I say, developing what they're claiming a AAA title for the Nintendo Switch. So we're going to take a bit of a break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with part 2 of our video. Excuse me. And for the second part, we're going to be talking about a development studio, or a studio that's known for doing ports, though, has made an announcement that they are working on a supposedly AAA game for the Nintendo Switch. From a post on Nintendo Life, and also spotted on NeoGAF, it points out that the studio name is Virtuos, or Virtuos. Basically, the claim is that they are porting a game for the Nintendo Switch, and supposedly their claim is that it's a AAA title. Now, this is a studio that, according to from a post on Nintendo Life, again, link in the description, it's a studio that works primarily with porting popular games to new console, and has ported games like Batman Return to Arkham, Assassin's Creed, the Ezio Collection, Final Fantasy XII, the Zodiac Age, and several other high-profile games to its name. And according to a post on NeoGAF, though, the person, and again, links are in the description, this person posted something that was posted on LinkedIn, and basically this person's claimed that he is porting an AA title to the Nintendo Switch, re-implement the rendering with Nintendo's native graphics, though, design and implement to low-level mechanicalism of graphic resource management and thread, and exploit the performance advantage of Vulkan-like API, UMA specific, pardon me if I'm saying it wrong, management of graphic memory, complete control over CPU, GPU, and so on. So basically this person is claiming, if what they're saying is true, is that they are basically working on a AAA title for the Switch. Now, I'm taking this with a bit of grain of salt, mostly because since this person is posting this stuff, whether it's on LinkedIn or basically, NeoGAF or anything like that, I'm a little cautious about this, considering that anybody can post something like this and it could turn out to be false. So, to me, I'm sort of taking a grain of salt. That being said, though, if this story turns out to be true, and I'm saying if this is true, though, it will be kind of interesting to see what kind of game they would be porting over to Nintendo Switch. Could it be any of the games that came out earlier this year or so on, such as, maybe like, and I know I'm beating the dead horse saying this, maybe like Resident Evil 7, is that a possibility? Or could we be seeing maybe any of the games that they have worked on? Maybe an Assassin's Creed Ezio collection could be coming, or the Batman Return to Arkham, or even Final Fantasy XII The Zodiac Age coming to the Switch, or dare I say, I know this is going to sound highly unlikely, though, but hey, one could dream, though, alright? Grand Theft Auto 5 on the Nintendo Switch, so it's sort of interesting to see, would like to know exactly what it is, because other than this programmer claiming they're working on AAA title for the Switch, we don't next to nothing, let alone we don't know who's publishing the title, and so on. So, again, it could be a made-up story, which I wouldn't be surprised if it is, but if it turns out to be true, though, it would be kind of interesting to see what exactly they are working on, and I certainly would be willing to try it out, assuming we know what it is. My personal opinion, based on the list of games, based on the list of games mentioned on this Nintendo Life article, I would say I would definitely be open to Batman Return to Arkham or Final Fantasy XII The Zodiac Age coming to the Switch. I mean, I would be open to that. The idea that you could bring those games to the go. Although, again, who knows if this will ever happen. Arkham Knight I would love to see come to the Nintendo Switch as well, though. But, again, bottom line is, I would take this information with a grain of salt since there's no concrete information at this time, but it will be very interesting if they are working on a AAA title. It will be very interesting to see exactly what it is, though. So, fingers crossed that it is a AAA title and it's a good one. So, hopefully, it would be. All right, we're going to take a bit of a break, and when we come back, we're going to get to our last and final story, which is basically a survey came out about the online app for the Nintendo Switch, and it's not exactly great. Then again, it's not exactly surprising seeing these results. So, take a bit of a break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with the third and final part of our My 2 Cent video. And for this one, we're going to be taking a look at the results so far regarding the Nintendo Switch Online app. I'm sure you're all aware that this was released along the line when Splatoon 2 came out. And so far, the reception, at least here, has been pretty negative. And it pretty much shows, at least according to this article. From an article posted on SensorTower.com, again, link in the description below, it basically reads, Nintendo Switch Online app has been installed by about 70% of the console owners. Basically, it points out that in the first 10 days following the app's launch, Sensor Tower Store Intelligence estimated that Nintendo Switch Online, the app, has been installed approximately 780,000 times worldwide, or about 70% of all Switch owner. The installed days break down fairly even between the App Store and Google Play at approximately 400,000 and 380,000 respectively, though. As far as it also shows, based on the chart that they have here, shows an intellectual, if I'm saying the name correctly, surge in download in the app in the US and Japan, the two largest markets for a Switch, followed by a more rapid decline in the new install for the US in subsequently days. Again, I apologize if I'm saying that name correctly, though. It points out that in addition to a chilly reaction to the Nintendo Switch Online from the gaming media thus far, those who've downloaded the app has given a mixed mark, with the US App Store review currently sitting at 72% negative and 28% positive in their sentiment, with an overall rating of just 2 stars. However, here's something interesting though. Japanese players seem to be far more forgiving, showing 77% positive sentiment and a 23% negative with an average of 4-star rating. So, based on what Sensor Tower is saying, assuming this is all correct though, it seems as though that the app has been kind of a hit and miss depending on the territory. In Japan, it seems as though it seems to be sitting very well with a lot of Switch owners in Japan. Meanwhile, in the US, it's not. And there could be many factors to this, but obviously, though, here in the US, though, the app Switch has really gotten a bad rap, though. And for a lot of good reasons, though. I mean, the idea of simply using your phone for voice chat, not for the system or anything like that, it's not sitting well with a lot of people. Combined with that bizarre setup that they have in Japan, which has not sit well with a lot of people, and the fact that basically you have to have your phone on at all times, you can't do something else when you're using the voice chat app, has certainly not sat well with a lot of the with the US audience though, especially with the US Switch owners though. Why it's sitting well with the Japanese audience, based on what this article is saying, is kind of a mystery to me. I don't know if some of it is because a lot of people, maybe the fact that a lot of people don't mind this in Japan as much as we do in the US. I mean, that is a possibility. But still, even with that, I still think Nintendo needs to really reevaluate how they're doing this online app in general. I mean, obviously, unless they do a redesign with the Pro Controller or the Joy-Con grip or anything like that, if they're going to go through with this app or anything like that, then I think, and I said this before in another video and I'm going to say it here, they really have to go back to the drawing board and really do a better job with this, though, because I can't see people using this app or anything like that, especially when supposedly their paid subscription will be coming up sometime next year, and I just can't see how many people are going to continue, given the bad reputation it's earned. I can't see people continuing to use this app and everything like that. I know some people will say, oh, well, some of the people who are reviewing this are trolling, and to a certain extent, that's probably true. There are some out there who probably are trolling, but I find it hard to believe that everybody's just simply trolling over this. Bottom line, these are not overall good numbers. I mean, obviously, the Japanese Switch owners seem to be happy with it, don't have a big issue with it. American audiences, though, have an issue with it. I still stand behind my statement saying that I think Nintendo needs to go back to the drawing board and re-examine this, because I just think this looks like a dumb idea. I really do think it was a dumb idea, and I just still stand behind my statement that this seems to be more work into something that really should have been simple, compared to how like Sony did it with the PS4 and how Microsoft has been doing it with with their Xbox system, even with the Xbox One. So, bottom line, not good numbers. They really need to re-examine this, though. Okay, this concludes my 2-cent video for this week. And again, these are my opinion. Well, what are yours? What are your thoughts about the Resident Evil Revelation coming to the Nintendo Switch, though? Are you pleased with this announcement? Are you not pleased with this announcement? Was this the Resident Evil game you were looking for? Was this not the Resident Evil game you were looking for? And are you planning to wait for the Switch version? Or are you planning to pick up the one for the PS4 and Xbox One when that comes out on August 29th? And what about this comment made by this development team that is known to do ports, though. Basically claiming that they're working on a AAA title, though. Do you think what they're saying is accurate? Do you think it's true? Do you think it's not true? And if you do think it's true, what title do you think that they are working on? Or what title do you wish they were working on that they would bring to the Switch? And finally, what are your thoughts about these results from Sensor Tower? About 70% Switch owners are using the app. Do you think this is being blown way out of proportion? Or do you think that the criticism is justifiable? Do you think people are not downloading it because they hate Nintendo? Or do you think that people are not downloading it because they think this was a dumb idea on Nintendo's part and they really need to fix this, though? As always, sound off on the comment section below. Let me know what you think. I hope you hit that like button and enjoy the video, and I hope you do subscribe to my YouTube channel, though. Also, feel free to share this video if you want to, and if you wish to donate to my channel, you can. I'll have a link in the description below. You could do it through PayPal me, or you could do it through Patreon. Alright, so it's evening here in Southern California, so I'll be getting ready for bed soon. Ready for bed soon. And this concludes this video, and I will see you again next time when I do another video. Hopefully that will be soon. Until then, from Southern California, I wish you all a good evening. Bye.